Yeah. This is Modern Storage Unpacked. Let's go.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Storage Unpacked, the podcast where we make space for what matters. I am Hannah. I am your host, and we are going to be talking about a topic today. I feel like everyone has kind of wondered at least one point whenever they're renting a storage unit.
Oh, yeah.
Storage unit pricing. Like, what affects it? What makes it? Why does it fluctuate? Why is it so different between different facilities?
Yes.
We're going to be unpacking it today. They may seem a little bit straightforward, but there's actually a lot of factors that go into play with it. So I'm really excited to be talking about this today. And we got Kaylee here with us.
Yes. Hello. I'm happy to be on and talk about this really interesting topic, honestly, because I have always wondered the same thing. Like, if you are looking for a storage unit and you're trying to price compare and why one facility down the road is like $100 more versus the other facility. It's very fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the basic idea behind pricing of a storage units, it's mostly based off of, first off, unit size is going to play a huge factor on that. What size is your unit? The location that you're in as well, that plays a huge part. And sometimes the features that the unit has, like climate control, accessibility, ground floor. I know at Modern Storage, all of our units are ground floor, but at other facilities, like there might be like an elevator or something you might have to take. And so the ground floor options are going to be a little bit more priced. So, that's going to be probably your major factors that go into play. Different facilities are going to have different prices on a much different factors, as well. It's kind of like a big broad range of things, but we're going to be unpacking it today, at least for what we can tell.
Yeah. And another big thing that you had mentioned is location. Location. It is so important. And that does play a pretty big factor in finding a storage unit to fit your budget. Just for an example, a 5x5 unit in New York City might be $300 or more a month, but in a small town like, Arkansas, it might be more like $35 a month for a 5x5. So that wild, difference really does, affect your pricing. And I mean, again, it's all about location. So
yeah, and it's kind of like weird how I feel like much storage units in the housing market are intertwined, because it's the same as like apartments. Like apartments in New York City, $7,000 to $10,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment, but here, you could probably find one for under $1,500. So it definitely goes hand in hand. I feel like with the housing market, wherever you see like home prices, rent is more, you're most likely going to have higher prices in storage units as well.
Oh yeah, it is interesting that you make the correlation of those two together, because it does really fluctuate. I even think the housing market really goes hand in hand with the storage facility market.
Even like the seasonality of it as well, because like, spring, summer, that's when everyone's looking to move in, move out. And then fall, winter is typically the slower months, the same as like apartments and, things like that. So it's just crazy how much, I didn't realize it, because, how much it was intertwined until actually being in it. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And I mean, too, you're also talking about the variety of demands for people, in different cities, need different storage facilities for smaller apartments. And then you've got, storage units that tend to be in really high demand in these really condensed cities with really small apartments versus some that, have really big houses, or like, if you're renting a house or something. But definitely for storage.
Right. And like demand in like urban areas or closer to major highways typically drives up prices as well. Like if you're right off the highway, or you're in like a scarce city that there's not much there. You're the only storage unit in town, that's probably gonna drive up prices. And then in like less populated areas, there's usually more supply as well. So prices do tend to be lower.
Fun fact, in 2016, the average cost of a 10 by 10 storage unit in San Francisco was $280 a month. Contrast that with a unit in like Omaha, Nebraska, just being like $85.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
a big difference.
The difference, again, really stems from like location and where you're trying to get your storage unit.
Yeah, absolutely. But kind of bringing it back a little bit to the biggest and most obvious factor of a unit pricing, the unit size itself.
Yes.
The bigger the unit you get, the higher the price is going to be. There's obviously more to it, but that is going to be the first answer to what makes up your storage pricing.
That's not all big units that are like priced the same. For example, a 10 by 20 in one facility could be priced lower than another in a second one that offers climate control or drive up access. So certain things like that also play into a factor when pricing. So if you are looking for a drive up unit, climate control, if you're looking for a 10 by 20, all of those, look at those as dollar signs for each one. That is an extra dollar sign for each one that you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing to take into play is I feel unit pricing can also depend on the location's capacity and that size. So like if there is just one left of that size, you know they're going to be driving up the pricings, you know, because they're not in a hurry to get anybody in there. They can get it for more.
Yeah.
But if there's a big splurge of 10 by 10s at this one location, like they're most likely they're going to put a special on there or, you know, drive down the pricings on that. So that's going to play another huge part is like what capacity that specific storage facility is at in that size, you know, so.
Which is why you kind of see whenever a new storage facility opens, like in your town, you see a lot of specials.
Oh yeah. And they're like so low. Yes. We've seen that a lot. Like people, I'm like, honestly, I'm like, how are they charging this little for like,
and then
climate
they close or change
staff. I mean, maybe they got the kiosks people there. I don't know.
They do. It's the kiosk, and that's how they're cutting costs. Or they end up closing after a year, or they're
trying to just get people in there.
To get it all set up. But again, that, you know, if you're needing a unit if you're thinking of this short term, like a month or two, getting in on those specials and those deals are really beneficial when trying to keep, you know, your storage cost low. So that is a perk whenever you are looking. You can always see whenever a new facility just opened, you know, ask about their specials.
Absolutely.
It doesn't hurt to ask.
In my opinion, you know, a little bit of a pro tip, if you are not in like an immediate need for storage, like you're kind of like flexible with it, plan your move in around the fall and winter months because that is when the traffic is typically slow and that is when they're most likely to be running specials and better deals and needing more people to move in. So if you are at all adaptable, I always say, you know, wait until the off season. That's like same like if you're buying a boat, you know, you don't want to buy it in the middle of summer. That's when it's going to be the most expensive. So same with the storage unit, you know.
Exactly. And I mean, I think that's a great tip to keep in mind because it's the same. I honestly think it's just the same thing for apartment pricing too. Like everything during those, you know, October, November, December.
Oh, absolutely.
Best time to get that storage unit, lock in that price if you can, and honestly, best time of year to move. It is not hot.
Yes.
Like I would much rather move into my huge storage unit in the fall where there's going to be no AC than when it is 95 to 100 degrees outside and I'm moving stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, before I came over to the storage side of things, I used to, you know, manage apartments and stuff. And man, in the summertime, we were stingy. Our rates were high.
Yeah.
It was terrible. But in the fall and winter time when we had no traffic, I mean, we were just pretty much giving people, like paying people to move in with us.
Again, you'll see those specials pop up on your Facebook page. They're popping up around that time of year.
Absolutely, absolutely. And another fun fact, if you didn't know, that actually the most popular storage unit size is a 10 by 10. So that is the most popular storage size. It's so versatile.
Yeah,
it's
what can you fit into it?
I don't know if people like it because it's just an exact square. I don't know. But it is
OCD
actually...
people might.
A 10 by 10 can pretty much fit like... with no like major appliances and stuff like that, but like a 1-bedroom apartment, like your couch, your your living room set, a bedroom set, a couple boxes. You're not gonna be able to fit up much more than that. Like depends on how much stuff. I mean, I got a lot of like decorations and end tables and stuff like that, but like your general like couch, end table, coffee table, TVs, bed, stuff like that. A 10 by 10 would be able to fit that. But yeah, that is the most popular storage size, but a lot of people use it to store their like seasonal decorations and stuff like that. So I feel, or even sometimes small cars as well. I mean, I don't know what you could.
It'd be a really
a
small
little
car.
Fiat or something.
Yeah, maybe a golf cart.
Yeah,
put the golf cart in there for the winter.
Yeah.
One thing to keep in mind too that we mentioned earlier was climate control. Whenever you say the words climate control, again, picture a dollar sign. If you're trying to keep within a budget, again, that is an extra cost because of that.
It's an extra, but it is a worth it cost.
Yes.
Refer back to our, I can't remember what number episode that was, where we went over climate versus non-climate. It depends on what you're storing and how long you're storing and where you are in the world. Like if you're in a place that's really humid and the temperature fluctuates and you're storing for more than a month or 2 or 3, like you want to put it in climate. Yes, it is extra money. So keep that in mind. Like she said, keep the dollar signs, but it's worth saving your things. If you're paying money to store it, you don't want your stuff to get ruined after you're moving out. But that is a huge aspect, I feel like, of the cost. But it does, the reason why it costs more. I mean, you think about it, we as a facility have to pay for the electricity to keep it electric, keep the temperature and humidity at a steady level, which protects sensitive items like electronics and antiques and artwork and your furniture. So, I mean, there is a cost to, electric's not cheap, especially in today's world. So it's going to have a little bit of an extra premium to that for sure.
And again, if what you're storing, it really does come down to what you're storing and how you see it as valuable. If you want to visit the storage unit, again in 6 more months and you want everything to be pristine, then that climate control is, important for you to probably pay the front costs versus getting rid of all of the items that you were storing and forgot about. Because I think that people often think that their stuff is safe in regular storage, but it can actually get damaged, again, by the extreme heat, cold, and humidity. So again, to keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out what kind of storage unit would fit your budget and your needs. Yeah. And I mean, if it tells you anything, about 30% of storage unit renters opt for climate control units, especially in those areas of extreme
that's
winter
actually
conditions.
not a lot. If you think
really
about
not,
it, I feel like that just goes to show that people aren't really that educated in like what that So I mean, if you're in a place where it's typically 70 degrees year round, like cool, but like like you said, it's in those extreme weather changes. That's when you need it. There's another thing that also we kind of mentioned earlier, the convenience factor is definitely going to take a part in the pricing.
Yes.
Like if the unit is ground level, does it require stairs to get to or a lift or something? I mean, of course, if there's a facility that has different multi-levels, the ground level, the most convenient access, or even like if it's like a big building, if you're right on the inside of the door, when you first walk in the door, you're first one on the right, that one is going to be most likely more expensive than the one that's going to be all the way at the end of the hallway. Yeah. You got to not only did you get to the building, but you got to carry all your stuff all the way down there.
Walk
hopefully
all
they got
the way
carts.
down. Exactly. And it's the same thing with like drive up access units where you can pull, again, directly up to your unit. You could pretty much back your trailer right up
unload
to your
it inside the unit.
You could unload it inside of the unit.
Sun,
But again, that is also another dollar sign. But again, if that is convenient for you, which it would be convenient for me, I want it as close as possible. Less walking, the better. And I would not, but again, if you're not maybe moving a bunch of heavy things and you don't mind a little bit of a walk, then again,
it's up to you. Like, is it worth you saving the extra few dollars, however much it may be? Facilities that offer like 24-hour access.
Oh yeah,
could be another factor of storage unit pricings. Like, that convenience factor in itself, because they offer flexibility to all the customers. So that's another thing to keep in mind, whenever you're comparing places and rates and things like that. If there's one place that's higher, look at, is it 24-hour access? You got to look at all the factors. There's so much more than just one specific thing, like the size. The size is going to be the biggest part, but there's more to it.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to their storage unit at 3 a.m. for no good reason? So let me add on that extra.
I mean, if you're bored one day and you're just like, let me just go,
check it out.
Or maybe redo my seasonal decorations. I got nothing to
1
do right
a.m.
now. Yeah.
I have to reorganize. Instead of reorganizing my bedroom, I'm going to go and reorganize my storage unit.
That's honestly kind of the person that I am. I don't know, growing up when I was in middle school, high school, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and rearrange my room.
Get the urge.
Did you ever do that?
Yes, plenty of times.
Your parents walk in and wake you up and the room looks so different than when you went to bed the night before. They're like, what have you been doing?
It's like they come in, have you been bowling? What are you doing? Are you bowling in here? No, I'm just rearranging my entire furniture. But thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So another thing too, I know that we kind of mentioned seasonally how things like that take a part into the unit pricing. But a fun fact is during peak moving season, which is actually May to August, if you didn't know, storage prices increase by 10 to 20%, especially in areas with a lot of student renters or relocating families.
Yes.
So just in case you didn't know that is a fun fact. It literally increases 10 to 20%.
Yeah.
So like I said, I mean, if you have that flexibility to choose when you're looking to store, if you're waiting on a certain time to clear out some space, things like that, wait until the off season because you're going to be paying a higher price tag, for that specific season.
Yeah, exactly. And again, these facilities know their seasons. They have enough data to see, especially those who live in college towns. Again, if you can hold off till the off season, that's going to save you so much just for any unit pricing. I think it will save you a lot. So again, seasonally, keep that in mind.
Another thing I feel like people don't take into consideration is the facility's reputation. How are they rated? The security features of the place. I mean,
Google
you don't
them.
really just see that first thing. Do they have 5 security cameras around the whole property, or do they have 50?
Yeah.
I mean, it costs money to keep those running and pay for storage to play back footage if needed. And also another thing is availability of insurance coverage.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes. So, because some facilities will provide it for an extra fee, and then some will not provide any, but expect you to prove that you will have.
You have
insurance
to get your own
coverage.
outside, but there are some facilities that offer in-house. If you don't have private insurance, so that's personal property insurance, renters, homeowners, and if you have renters through an apartment complex, they might not cover it. You might want to check your coverage to make sure it covers off-site
storage,
off-site property. In some places, I know we have plans in-house that you can just get straight through us, and plans as low as $9 a month, so super affordable. But yeah, I mean, we have to partner with a third-party service to provide that for people, and so that could come with an extra.
And a lot of
cost.
people don't realize that is not optional. A lot of the times, these storage facilities do not give you an option to not have.
Yeah, I can't think of a
insurance.
place local to us that doesn't require.
You have to. Majority of them
again,
do.
same like apartments. Apartments require insurance.
Well, some of them do. There are some that don't require them. Shocker. Yeah, there are some that don't
Listen,
require
for
them.
$7 a month, why wouldn't you want that?
It is so cheap, guys.
Why wouldn't you want that? If you ever had a
flood,
if you were ground level, if you were ground level in your apartment and your upstairs neighbor flooded, that happened to me. My upstairs neighbor was washing something. I don't know what happened, but her washer flooded her apartment, leaking down into mine, and it was bad.
Yes.
Ruined
Get the insurance.
Ruined some stuff. I had renter's insurance. I was covered, but it's things that are outside of your control. You might think that, because I I'm clean, I'm this, I'm that, or maybe I don't live in an area with like tornadoes or crazy weather like that. You never know. Like other neighbors, you're in a shared living place. So
yes, and that's the same thing for storage facilities. Again,
you never know who's around you.
Never know
who's storing
who's
fireworks.
Around. Yeah, who's storing fireworks? Again, not allowed.
Not allowed. Yeah, they're not supposed to.
They do. And again, if that accidentally goes off, heaven forbid, but you should be covered. Your items should be covered. Again, if you are paying to store these somewhere, then obviously they mean something to you, and you should pay the $7, $10 it is a month to make sure that those items are protected.
You know, you can also bundle if you have an auto loan policy. You can bundle renters, and with your auto loan at
Where's
like
Flo
a discounted rate.
Where's our bundle?
We need Flo in the building.
Where's Flo?
You can bundle it together. Like for honestly, probably some places are like cheaper than $7 a month. Like super cheap. Again, it covers pretty good. So just something to definitely look into. But we also got plans in house if you ain't got none.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for tips on more like affordable storage options, again, something to consider is the location of the place. Kind of go towards maybe the outskirts of town. You know, can be a little bit cheaper than right in the middle of the city, you know. So location would definitely be one of the first places I would look for. Another thing is checking for those discounts, first month free deals. Sometimes some facilities offer like long-term rental rates, like where if you pay for your first 12 months up front, you get your 13-month free. So like, you know, you can talk with places and see if they may offer something like that. And then like I mentioned earlier, kind of looking out for the seasonal price changes that can fluctuate 10, 20%, sometimes more. And also don't be afraid to ask about hidden fees. I actually know some places that charge like administrative fees or, you know, extra insurance if you don't have it. But the administrative fees, you know, that kind of got
kiosks.
me. Yeah, for the kiosks. They're not going to the kiosk. Who are they going to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so there could be hidden fees that are not included in the base price that you may see online. So do not be afraid to ask the person, if there is a person, hopefully.
And sometimes it is worth comparing prices across different facilities. Again,
for sure.
It's really all about your needs. And so, again, at the end of the day, if you're just trying to look for the cheapest, you can find it. If you are not restricted by time, if you're not restricted by, you know, some of these other things, then go do the research, you know, look online, call, walk in there and just ask, you know, if there's any deals, anything happening. You know, especially for our facilities, we'll let you know if something's happening. We'll probably already advertise it to you. So, you know, it's important. And then, you know, some people even use those mobile storage units.
Pods.
Yes.
Yeah, my grandma did when she moved here from North Carolina.
And they're
you know,
delivered
they're really cool.
directly to your home. And those tend to almost be more affordable than traditional facilities. Again,
There is.
If you
but you
are
also, like, you're
having
to look over
exactly.
your own stuff. You're having to look over your own
It's
stuff.
still
You
in
don't
your
have the
front
security
yard.
cameras. Yeah, it's in your front yard. People can see the big pod and they know you probably got some valuable stuff in there. So that's on you to look after.
Yeah, that would be the downside of doing something like that.
Well, I think we really honestly hit most of the points of like really what goes into affecting storage unit pricing. Again, location is going to be a really big thing. Unit size, that should be the first thing you would think about. I would say location would be second. And then features like climate control, drive-up access, ground level, all of that will really play a role into pricing.
Yeah.
So,
and something too, like you can always see what's valuable to you. I know at our modern storage facilities, what you're getting on top of your monthly storage fee is Wi-Fi. You get computer access, you get printer access, scanner, free coffee, you know, a conference room. You know, are there other is the other storage facilities offering those other perks on top of your monthly storage rate? So again, you can take those into consideration when trying to figure out exactly what fits your needs, but that is also something to keep in mind. Do the storage units do they offer perks? Like what else can I
we didn't even touch on that, and that's I feel like what sets us apart is our perks, our amenities. Free move-in truck.
Free move, which again,
U-Hauls are pricey.
Yes, you're not even thinking about how much it costs to rent a box truck. But yet, you know, somewhere like Modern Storage, whenever you rent a unit from us, you get that free. Like that is free for you to use our box truck. So whether you live
Within 30 days of moving in.
Yes, there are restrictions. But again, talk to your facility manager, talk to them, ask them
Give you all
about
the
it.
details.
Ask them what, other things that they offer. Do they do package concierge? Will they pick up your package for you? Will they help, send it out? Can you print labels there? All things that you can do at a Modern Storage. So you look at your options.
No, that is a great point. I'm so glad that you mentioned that. And I think that honestly, we really covered today's topic. But thank you so much for joining me today to go over this. I feel like it was something we had to talk about just to kind of dive into all the key aspects of what makes storage pricing. Exactly. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I feel like I learned so much about storage pricing today. And I hope that you guys watching this or listening to this do too. Be a little bit more educated about your storage options.
I love it. Well, don't forget to subscribe to Modern Storage Unpacked wherever you're listening from so that you don't miss out on our next episode. Until next time, we're Modern Storage Unpacked, the podcast where we make space for what matters.
That's a wrap for this episode of Modern Storage Unpacked. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and check out modernstorage.com for more ways to stay ahead in the storage industry. See you next time.